to opera and Muhammad Ali and the sweet stage. Opera singer, documentary maker, and now writer and author of a play on the life of Muhammad Ali, which will show off-Broadway in New York in December, joins us. David, a very, very warm welcome to you to Fight Night on TalkSport.
Hello, my dear friend. It is such an honor to be today on this show, to be with you. And thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you. It means a lot. Thank you.
Let me ask you, first of all, it's a pleasure to have you on board. I mean, you're very foremost in your world. I saw you with Dua Lipa earlier in the week. You were Dave Chappelle yesterday. You seem to mix with the stars. But what made you, first of all, want to write a play about Muhammad Ali?
I have written and adapted so many plays. I played Shakespeare, all the greatest classics for, I don't know, for 25 years now, directed over 100 theatrical productions. The reason why I tell you all of that is that I believe that the character of Ali is a Shakespearean role. You know, I'm sure if Shakespeare would live at the time of Ali, would have written a play about him, because he's a character who rose, who fell, who have known victories, but also defeat. And I wanted to enter the world of boxing to know what was going on. And I must say, Gareth, I've been so blessed to discover that it's not just a fight. It's really about strategy. It's about discipline. It's about patience. And everything that I've learned in the world of boxing, now I adapt it for me in the world of theater. And this is really helping me a lot. So I was also interested to know what was going on in his mind. That's why it's a one-man play where the character of Ali talks to the audience and tells his feeling. Of course, there are some dialogues with Angelo Dundee, with him, some dialogues that I have created that they could be perhaps saying. But this world of boxing became, for me, so passionate because I had to dig in it. And I must say, people like yourself, Gareth, really made it all worth it. And I must say, you're the only person in the world, besides the actor who is playing the part of Muhammad Ali, who has received the play.
I've got to say, let me just say, though, I have read it. It's an amazing distillation of his life, an extraordinary, I mean, the most famous human being in the world during his boxing career, and maybe afterwards.
Absolutely. David, that's what I wanted to say. Like, you know, you chose Muhammad Ali, and it's like you come into the world of boxing, which is a fascinating insight for anybody that doesn't know the world of boxing and what goes on behind the scenes, behind the cameras and the bright lights. You know, the life, the hardship, and what the boxers have to go through day in, day out. But Muhammad Ali especially is like, boxing, yes, is the umbrella of it, but there's so much more to the guy, the character, the icon that is Muhammad Ali, isn't there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He is really an icon. And again, what was interesting was not just his life in the ring, but also outside, how destiny came to him. And you know, if I could, you know, resume the play in a line, what really inspired me is this little guy who grew up in Louisville, Kentucky, where there was a segregation, injustice, whites only parts, etc., who conquered the world, just with his fist. I mean, think about it. He didn't create, you know, the new iPhone or something like that. He conquered the world with his feet, and it was a message of peace. And he stood up for his value. He inspired so many people, including Mike Tyson, by the way. And think of all the economy that he created after. And I end, you know, when the city of Louisville renamed the airport the Muhammad Ali Airport. So it was all that journey that I found absolutely fascinating, but also the strategy that he explained, the rope-a-dope. What was the rope-a-dope? You know, how he analyzed other people. You would think it's two, you know, beasts who are throwing punches to each other, but boxing is so smart, it's so intelligent, it is so much of a strategy. And really, I mean that. It made me a better actor, because I used to be very, very well prepared, but not enough to think on the present moment, which is exactly what athletes and particularly boxers are doing. They prepare, they train, but then after, you don't know what the guy in front of you is going to do, right? So I use that for the stage with the audience, and how to create a dialogue and how to respond the best compared to what you have in front of you coming. And I must pay a tribute also to you, Gareth, because it's not just the fighters, who, by the way, you would think they are this big piece of stones like that, but they have the warmest heart that you could think of, you know. And also all the people like you, Gareth, who are, I should say, around. I mean, who are not in the ring, but the journalist, the writer like yourself. You have a great book coming in. I can't wait to have it in my hands. But you know, also the journalists who are talking on podcasts, I started to listen to all of that, to all kind of radio show, and the passion that is sweating out of them is so fascinating. And of course, no one ever thought about, everybody celebrate the guy who wins, but no one talks about the guy who loses, like the kind of dignity that you need to have, and not just to fall, but to be able to stand up. That's the difference between the fighter and a champ. You know, a champ will stood up and go back stronger and learn from his mistakes. And that again is, for me, so fascinating. And I wanted to bring it in some sort of an intimate moment with the audience, where Ali really comes back to life in 2024, and explain these value, when there were no social media, no how many followers you have or whatever. You just had your fist and you just had to win, basically.
Can I ask you, because as you said, I've had the privilege of reading your play, which is extraordinary. That what I thought was incredible was, and Spencer will love it as well. What was incredible?
Give it to Spencer, please. Give it to Spencer.
I will. What was incredible was how you managed to distill his life so extraordinarily into just 12 pages of A4 in script. And I know you're making a movie about it on stage that will go out as a documentary as well. How did you... Because you must have read so much. I know you read loads of writers on him. Tom Hauser, his autobiographer. You read so many people about Ali. How much painstaking time did it to distill that to 12 pages?
I don't really write as a playwright will write, as a journalist will write, with all due respect, but I write as an actor, which means I put myself into his bones, into his skin, and this is what I'm going to say. This is what I have in my heart. If I would have lived his life, this is what I would have said. You know, personally, I don't care, if he slept with that woman or that woman, you know what I mean? But what I'm interested is how destiny came to him, that it was raining. He put his bike outside to go inside the community center. He goes back. There is no more bike. He wants to talk to a police officer. They said there is a police officer right downstairs in the basement. He goes to the basement. This police officer, his name is Joe Martin, and he had a boxing gym, and you see white and black kids who are training together. And he's like, wow, this is the first time I see white and black kids playing together.
And if his bike hadn't been stolen, he would never have become Cassius Clay and Muhammad Ali, the boxer.
Can you believe that?
No,
absolutely.
It's unbelievable.
Do you know what? And it's just the research that goes into that, but having the vision and, the expertise to be able to, present that. And like Gareth says, it absolutely fascinates me, because Muhammad Ali, his backstory and what he stood for and how he changed so much, boxing just being the umbrella of it all. How you can get that down onto 12 pages and get the story across the way you have.
No, you've got the whole story
insane.
as well.
That's what I'm saying.
And it's in
insane.
10 rounds.
It's
10
insane.
rounds, isn't it? You've done it as 10 rounds. What happened to the championship rounds, by the way? The 11th and the 12th. You didn't need them.
No.
That's for part two.
I wanted to keep it as a 10, in people's mind. But what people need to understand is that you don't read the same way than you speak, so you have to simplify the language because the audience is getting, an actor has two purposes, is to give data, which is information of the text, the score, what you're saying, but also the emotions that are on the top, who are basically the platform of what you're going to say. So you need to keep a little bit of time. If you give too much information, kills the information. I'm sure you heard of that. So I wanted to keep it simple, to go straight to the point, but to emphasize really on the emotions, that an Ali who is crying at the end, and also to inspire the audience, like I do in all my shows, that I want the audience to live with something. The same when I listen to your show, Gareth, that we didn't hear just about that one this, one that. We learn, it's entertaining, and we keep something. And I wanted to do the same thing in my show, Gareth, that at the end, I end the play with, my name is Muhammad Ali, greatest, and so are you. Perhaps the theater people, especially, to understand that what really is the world of boxing, because as I shamefully admit, I really thought that boxing was just, fighting and punching, and actually it's everything but that.
We call it, David, beautiful brutality very often.
Exactly.
And it is a dance. And,
exactly.
And that's what I wanted to ask you, because I want to get into your theatrical world. You are an incredible impresario and the things you talked about. Obviously, you're an opera singer as well. Do you now see fighting and boxing as drama and theatre?
Oh, yeah. I would tell you that, Gareth, that for me, boxing is the most theatrical sport.
Wow.
Boxing is the most theatrical sport. And I'm telling you, Gareth, I would love to do more play about boxers, about Mike Tyson, maybe about other people. Think about another boxing
Alexander
figure.
Usyk, Tyson Fury.
Yes, of course, Tyson Fury is amazing. But also what I was happy is to have the casting was also important, because obviously you don't need just a good actor, you need also a boxer who can reproduce the moves. But definitely I would love to bring more of the boxing world on stage, and I believe this is very important, that even actors, they learn about boxing.